All right, good morning. This is Coach Big Pete of DeKalb.com and the Women Report. How you doing? It is time now to do basically a perspective on week four, all of the IHSA games as I go scroll down through IHSA.org, your number one source for everything IHSA football, that you can look at the schedules and standings. Be sure you check it out, IHSA.org. It's the number one site. Let's get started. Go through week four. What's going to happen? Not what happened, but go through some of the games to keep a close eye on in the state of Illinois. It should be. This week is the fourth week. Fourth week is always the week of after the game this weekend is despair, because you think your team's not good enough or your team's good enough, and then week five comes, and that's the huge decider. That is definitely the huge decider. Week four is sort of if you have no wins, it's, but if you have at least one win, you get that other win, and you go 2-2. It's unbelievable. So let's talk about some games in the IHSA, shall we? Okay, let's get started. First, the Apollo Conference. Mount Samor at Taylorville looks like to be a great game. Taylorville's got that great running back who rushed for, I think it was like over 200 yards, if I'm not mistaken. Had a great game. That's going to be a good game to look out for. Basically, sorry. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I'm just looking at I'm just looking at something else down here. Um, Actually, Normal Community versus Normal West is going to be one hell of a game. It's actually going to be a really good game. You got those rushers, Dylan Telvis. Forgetting the other pass rusher's name from Normal. Normal West, you got Genesis Force. That's actually one hell of a game. Um, it's actually one of the top games in the state. That's a huge game to keep a very close eye on. Carmen White County versus El Dorado, another big game to look out in from the Black Diamond. Cesar Valier at Johnson City, another big game, especially with Cesar Valier and Johnston City. Again, it's starting to look like the Black Diamond's got the two. It's starting to look like the Black Diamond's back to the old Black Diamond traditional year in and year out now for their teams. Red Bud at Salem could be a game. Salem did get a blowout yesterday. Uh, Tuscola at Shelbyville is one of the top 3A games. It's going to be an interesting game because Tuscola's got that line. Shelbyville's got that passing attack. Uh, it's going to be an interesting point in the Central Illinois Conference if Tuscola manages to pull the upset. That's going to be that'd be an interesting thing. I've got to put favor in Shelbyville because it's at a home game, but and Turner Poland's looking hot right now, and his wide receivers looking really good. So it'll be interesting to see. Let's go down. Let's go down. Yeah, it's a quiet week for the Central State 8. Not that much going on in the Springfield big school football. Um, it's that sort of is not. I don't like that. Lake Park at Naperville North's a hell of a game. Naperville Central versus Wabansie Valley is another good game. Wabansie Valley needs this win no matter what. They need this win. This is a win that they can't lose. This is a game that they cannot lose. Nazareth Academy at Carmel, don't laugh. Nazareth Academy is a little bit scared of Carmel. Uh, Joliet Catholic at Niles Notre Dame is sort of a measuring stick for the Joliet Catholic program. Also for the Niles Notre Dame program too. Uh, Jacobs at Cary Grove, I talked about that. That's going to be one hell of a game. Definitely great game to keep a close eye out for, especially for Cary Grove, because some of these games, and I'm going to say this right now. Week four is the measuring stick of Where should we be at, and how do we need to get there? That's the measuring stick for the coaching staff and for that player and for that roster, and how to get the kids ready. Week 4 has always been the trickiest week. Um, it, it's just the momentum can go automatically up after a win, or the momentum can go down. Um, the kids can quit on you in the middle of the season or stay with you in the middle of the season. This is an important week and next week. Week 4 and week 5 are the two most important weeks. It's because some kids just shut off and like, oh, I want basketball, or I want time to go out with my friends in the winter. Literally, that's what it is. And week 4 and week 5 are just the toughest for a coach too, especially a coach that's not winning that many games. That's got 1 or 2 wins. So St. Joseph Ogden and Tonolino Unity is always a good game. They'll probably be one of the small school games of the year when I talk about it Saturday morning. And no, I'm not joking. It's just a good game. St. Joseph at Toledo Unity is just one hell of a game. You can't say anything more about it. It's a good game. Of course, the football game of the week, Wilmington at Peatone. That's a hell of a game. I'm not going to even talk about that school. That my old school. No. Marengo at Woodstock North. I sort of see it as a good game. I know people are laughing at me, but I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a good, hard-fought game. Burlington Central at Richmond Burton. That's a great game. Woodstock at Harvard. That's another good game. I really do like. For some reason, I like Harvard. And Woodstock. I know these are some of the lost games. These teams have losses, a lot of losses, but there's just some games that, as a football fan and a high school football fan, and the way they're coached, it's riveting to watch those type of games. Just saying. Metamora at Washington, top rivalry in the state of Illinois. That's a great game to watch. Metamora at Washington, you have to check it out. That's a hell of a game in the state of Illinois. Metamora at Washington, that is going to be a good game. I sort of got to give the favor to Washington. Uh, Zion Benton. Zion Benton Lakeshurst is going to be a good game. Zion Benton's got a great chance of pulling the upset. Zion Benton's having a great season. Check it out, please. Rockford Boylan Catholic versus Rockton Hoonigan is going to be a good game. And Rockford Guilford versus Freeport looks like a good game too. DeKalb versus Sycamore. I want to look at this game, and I want to see what it's a good rivalry game, but I want to see what Sycamore can do. I'm very interested in see what Sycamore can do. Grays Lake North and North Chicago is another good game, especially for Coach Baker in North Chicago. They've had a couple. North Chicago, I still have as one of my top teams that people aren't talking about. They need to pay attention to. Nokemis at Dupo looks like a hell of a game. So shout out to Coach Steele at Nokemis, great guy. Dupo's got a good team too, good group of athletes to keep a close eye out for. Williamsville at North Mac is a hell of a game. Again, Williamsville is looking hot right now for that 3A team. They're literally on fire. A lot of people aren't talking about them, but more people should start talking about them because they are scary. They are very scary. I'm sorry, Williamsville is very scary. They have a great chance of eating Thanksgiving in DeKalb. I'm just going to say that. They're a hell of a team. One hell of a team. Carbondale Centralia is going to be a good game. Especially with Centralia and how they're rolling right now. They're looking good. Shepherd at Rivas looks good. Manuka Plainfield North's a pretty good game to look out for, especially for Manuka. First year for new coach. Great time to pull an upset. O'Fallon at Collinsville is a good game. East St. Louis, no. Upstate 8. St. Charles North at St. Charles East, you can't really say anything more. That's a hell of a rivalry game. Great game to look out for. St. Charles North or St. Charles East, great game. Um, it's a great rivalry game. Great game last year. St. Charles East upset St. Charles North. It's that is a hell of a game. Hell of a game. That's going to be a game that's going to be the second game that decides the Upstate River 8 next to Batavia when Batavia plays those teams. Uh, Richards at Lamont's going to be a great game to keep a close eye out for, especially with Lamont's offense and Richards' defense. That's going to be a very interesting game to watch. I like what I saw out of Richards. St. Rita versus St. Lawrence is a good game too, especially St. Lawrence. I'm keeping a close eye on St. Lawrence. I really do like what I see. Brother Rice at Montini, good game. Brother Rice needs this win. They need to get this win. Aurora Christian versus Chicago De La Salle. Keep a close eye out for that game. Riverside Brookfield at Aurora Central Catholic, another game to keep a close eye out for. Vernon Hills at Hoffman Estates, huge game for Hoffman Estates. Hoffman Estates is undefeated. I know. This is a huge proving point. Huge proving point to see what the Hoffman Estates can do against a run and shoot team. That's going to be an interesting play, especially against the 5 wide. It's going to be one hell of a game. And there's one more game I'm forgetting that I need to talk about. No. Main Self at Palatine. Great game. Uh, Huge game. That's a great test for this season. I both have winning records, but it's a great test to look out for. You got Main South, former state title guys from 2016 state title winners, and Palatine who wants to win that state title. That's a hell of a game this week 4, so it should be interesting. So week 4, this is the start of the test week. This week and next week, see where the season is, and for a lot of teams, it's going to be an interesting. Rochelle at Morris, that's another good game too. It's going to be an interesting game. Uh, Evanston versus Friends is another good game, but it's a huge test for this year. Not this year. A huge test. Week 4. Um, See where teams are at week 4 and week 5, and see if the coaches can get the kids back, their interest back, to win games and to make a good run into the playoffs that have 1 win or 2 wins. But it's the test weeks. Week 4 and week 5 are always the test weeks to get those playoff wins and to try to get the 6 wins, because you can't always put your trust in the playoff points and other teams winning games. I've been there. So, again, like I said, it's going to be an interesting week 4. I'll be Wilmington versus Peatone, Deep Dish Football Game of the Week, week 4. Hell of a week. If you like what I had to say, follow Coach Big Pete, Deep Dish Football, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, Coach Big Pete. Big shout out to everyone, 1,000 followers and 1,000 likes on the Deep Dish Football Facebook page. Thank you so much. You made Deep Dish Football the #1 IHSA Football blog followed on Facebook. On Facebook. Unbelievable. Thank you so much to everybody. It's Again, you guys make Deep Dish Football. Simple as that. You guys do. Simple as that. Thank you so much. And if you like my work on deepdishfootball.com and everything else, go on to the right-hand section. Please feel free to leave a tip or /donation on the right-hand section of deepdishfootball.com. that says leave a tip for Coach Big Pete. Thank you so much and have a lovely day and enjoy week 4 of IHSA football.